Hey there, I am Kyle Russell of crystalconcentrics.com, and I am holding a wonderful plate of cherry rose quartz from Tanzania, which is kind of unusual and interesting, and the centerpiece of my topic for this video, which is the laying on of stones. Now, when you're doing a session with somebody and you're exploring various different themes, and I speak for myself here because everybody's different. I don't actually follow what's written in the books, so I will be sharing my own personal perspective on this. But in walking someone through a process of, say, coming down from a certain high or working up from a certain low, and going through a progression of stones that assist in that process, we often hold those stones in our hands as a way of assimilating and receiving the energy that they have to offer. Now, I was originally going to call this video Passive Impact, because when you talk about laying on of stones, you're just placing the stone on a part of the body, say the chest or the belly or wherever it is. Sometimes you can do third eye stones right to the forehead. In those situations, it's not as much of a conscious interaction as what happens when you're holding them in your hands. You are, of course, guided through the process, so your mind is with the motion. But it is possible also to have a more passive impact, that is to say, merely by placing a certain stone that exudes, represents, manifests, transmits certain energies onto different parts of the body, that it will have an effect even regardless of the person's conscious participation. And that opens up the possibility of working with people who are either not conscious, maybe in a coma, maybe their mental state is not allowing them to consciously engage in all the concepts. But what the hope is that you can still apply the stones to the body and have them have a passive impact. And I say that passive part because the person who's receiving them may not be fully active in the process. So for them it's passive, but for the stone and for the healer it's not passive at all. It's actually very active. So the stone and the healer are working through its capacities and powers to impart a certain energy to the person who's being treated. So that is my little introduction to the whole concept of laying on of stones. I started it by talking about a more conscious interactive with the stones that happens with you holding them, but I can devote an entire video to that at another time. So I'm Kyle of crystalconcentrics.com. You can subscribe for my updates there. I do work with people remotely and in person, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Crystal Concentrics.